every telephone quiet. No, Matias. Turn more on. Whoa.
Once upon a time, there lived a Tsar of Russia named Veslav, who had 3 sons. His was the richest of kingdoms. He had the most beautiful palace and a garden with rare trees. His favorite was the tree that bore golden apples. One day, when the Tsar went for a stroll in the garden, he noticed that some apples were missing. So he called his 3 sons and told them,
I will give half of my kingdom to the one who catches the thief. That's how you talk. That's me.
So, as the night came, the 3 sons went to the garden. They were waiting for a few hours and did not see anyone. Soon, the 2 older sons fell asleep. Another hour went by, but there was no sign of the thief coming. The youngest son, whose name was Ivan Tsarevich, was very drowsy, but he was trying not to fall asleep. Suddenly, a streak of gold flashed over the garden and landed on Tsar's favorite tree.
It's that Firebird.
It was the Firebird. It snatched 2 golden apples. Ivan Tsarevich jumped up to catch the bird, but he was only able to get 1 feather from its tail. The next morning, he gave the glowing feather to the Tsar. The Tsar praised his son Ivan, but the feather was so enchanting that Tsar became obsessed with the idea that he must own the Firebird. So he called his sons again and said,
My promise still stands. I will give half of my kingdom to the one who brings me
Who's
the
this?
Firebird.
You. Wow. Wow. Shh.
And so the oldest son set out on a journey. The Tsar was waiting for him for a year, but he didn't come back. Then the middle son set out. He also didn't return within a year. So it was the time for Ivan Tsarevich to leave. He was riding for months across the deepest swamps, widest fields,
Is that a
and
Firebird?
across the tallest hills, until he came to the darkest of forests. There in the forest, he found a wooden house that stood on chicken legs, without any doors or windows. He said,
House on chicken legs. Turn your back to the forest and your front to me.
turned and Ivan Tsarevich came inside. This was the house of the old witch, Baba Yaga.
Ooh, Baba Yaga.
And at that very moment, she flew in her mortar. She wanted to eat Ivan Tsarevich for dinner. But he called her grandma and was very polite and told her that he is looking for the Firebird. So she said,
Nobody has called me grandma in 100 years, and nobody has told me a single nice word. I will help you, Tsarevich. Here is my golden wolf. He will take you to the palace of the blue-eyed princess. That's where she keeps the Firebird.
Is Daddy gonna eat today?
so Ivan Tsarevich hopped on the back of the gray wolf, and the wolf took him through the darkest forest and over the seas and to the palace of the blue-eyed princess. The wolf jumped over the wall, and Ivan Tsarevich found the Firebird in the golden cage in the garden. The wolf said,
Ivan Tsarevich, take the Firebird, but do not touch the golden cage.
but Ivan Tsarevich didn't listen. He wanted to take the golden cage as well. And when he touched the wires of the cage, a sound of 12 bells struck through the silence of the night. The wolf carried Ivan Tsarevich and the Firebird over the wall, but soon the blue-eyed princess and her court were after them.
That was me drawing that.
The wolf
That was
said,
Why didn't you listen to me, Ivan Tsarevich? The blue-eyed princess is now very upset. She will catch up with us and will kill you.
indeed. Soon the blue-eyed princess caught up with the wolf and demanded that Tsarevich defend himself. She was incredibly beautiful, and she was a fierce fighter. They started fighting in the middle of a field, and Ivan Tsarevich could not win. When he was laying on the ground, he said,
Blue-eyed princess, I'm Tsarevich Ivan. I fell in love with you as soon as I saw you. I took your Firebird to bring it to my father, Tsar. Please forgive me. Do not kill me now. Better kiss me.
and so they kissed and put up a silk tent in the middle of the field, and they got married. They brought the Firebird to Tsar Vislav, and the Tsar gave them half of his kingdom. From that time, they lived happily together, and the Firebird bejeweled their garden all their lives.
Bravo! 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 This was great, you guys! This was great! This was fantastic! Everybody loved it! Everybody loved it! This is great! This was super, you guys! This is a lot of work, huh? Great job, man! You guys really, this is great.
We never rehearsed it.
It was great. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, you know?
It's a lot of work.
It's great. It's really great.
Did you see it?